I'd probably post this on other psychedelic things I follow as well, but this is the first. Holy shit. For starters, I've smoked DMT previously on a few occasions. Those earlier experiences were relatively mild compared to what I'm about to describe. They typically occurred during daylight hours when the setting felt more controlled and familiar. Had the wavy effect and things altered, normally during daytime. Never did much with CEV, closed-eye visuals, previously. The visual distortions were interesting but manageable, mostly consisting of objects breathing or surfaces rippling like water. Always seemed like DMT was just the peak of a good LSD trip. I had no idea how wrong I was about that comparison. This brings us to night. Things I consumed throughout the night. Nicotine through the use of vape, alcohol, 1 purple 4 Loco. Did smoke some DMT earlier, but it had been several hours. Typical wavy visuals, things look like they're breathing. The earlier session had been unremarkable, just the usual geometric patterns dancing at the edges of my vision, nothing that prepared me for what was coming. I felt relaxed and curious, perhaps a bit more adventurous than usual due to the alcohol's disinhibiting effects. So I had a drink, was playing Xbox in the living room. The familiar sounds of the game and the soft glow of the screen created a comfortable domestic atmosphere. Wife went to bed maybe an hour before. The house had settled into that peaceful late-night quiet with only the occasional hum of the refrigerator or distant sound of traffic outside. I felt a pull towards something more profound than the video game in front of me. Decided to turn off TV, grab some DMT, strip naked, and head to bed. There was something ritualistic about this moment, powering down the external world, removing the barriers of clothing, preparing to dive inward. The darkness of the bedroom felt welcoming rather than intimidating. The familiar space of my own bed would serve as my launch pad into the unknown. I light up the DMT and right away start seeing psychedelic fractals. The transition was immediate and startling, no gradual onset this time. The fractals weren't just visual noise, they had an intelligence to them, a purposeful geometry that seemed to be communicating something just beyond my comprehension. Oh yes, that moment of recognition when you realize you're about to go much deeper than expected. Equal parts excitement and surrender. Lay down, close my eyes. The physical act of lying down felt like submitting to the experience, letting gravity pull me not just into the mattress, but into an entirely different dimension of consciousness. What happened next was unbelievable. Even now, trying to put it into words feels inadequate, like describing a symphony to someone who's never heard music. The fractal images morphed into what looked like a female holding a book, and this image was side by side, up and down endlessly, morphing and coming back over and over. This wasn't just a visual, it felt like encountering a presence, an entity with purpose and meaning. The book seemed significant, as if it contained knowledge I needed but couldn't quite access. The repetition wasn't monotonous but hypnotic, each iteration revealing slightly different details, like looking at the same scene through a slowly rotating prism. I was also hearing this almost sci-fi-like deep, low radio wave sound going whoom, whoom, whoom. The sound wasn't coming through my ears in any normal sense. It seemed to resonate through my entire being, like standing inside a massive synthesizer. It had the quality of cosmic communication, as if I was tuned into some interdimensional frequency that carried meaning beyond language. I also vaguely remember seeing what looked like hieroglyphs, and when it was all getting intense and thoughts like, am I still here? Are my eyes open or closed? Now, does it matter? The hieroglyphs felt ancient and significant, like messages left by previous travelers to this space. The boundary between self and experience began dissolving. Questions about the nature of consciousness and reality weren't philosophical anymore. They were immediate, practical concerns about my current state of existence. I swear what looked like a psychedelic bearded dragon reptile thing showed up and looked like he was rowing, just paddling along. This entity felt distinctly different from the female figure with the book, more playful, more reassuring. The rowing motion was rhythmic and purposeful, as if he was navigating us both through the currents of this strange dimension. It was extremely calming and nice. His presence transformed what could have been an overwhelming experience into something manageable and even delightful. At this point, I open my eyes, see the ceiling fan, realize I'm still tripping, close my eyes, see some nice electric blue images. The transition back was gradual rather than jarring. The ceiling fan became an anchor point, familiar, mechanical, reassuringly mundane. But even it seemed to pulse with residual energy from wherever I'd just been. The electric blue images were like afterglow, beautiful but fading, the visual equivalent of an echo. And then I wrote this as soon as it was over. The urgency to capture the experience while it was still fresh felt crucial. Already I could feel the details beginning to slip away like a dream upon waking. Apologies for typos, I'm on Mogul. This experience completely redefined my understanding of what DMT could offer. The presence of seemingly intelligent entities, the profound questions about consciousness and reality, and the overall sense of traveling to an actual place rather than just hallucinating. All of this suggests there's much more to explore in this territory. The calming presence of the reptilian guide made me feel that these spaces, however alien they might seem, aren't necessarily hostile or dangerous. They may simply be other dimensions of experience that our ordinary consciousness rarely accesses. The integration of this experience will likely take days or weeks, but one thing is certain, I'll never again think of DMT as just the peak of a good LSD trip. This was something entirely different, a doorway rather than just an alteration of this reality.